a battle that does go on right now between the practical effects and the pure optical effects, the CGI optical effects. Now, when we were doing things back in the day, we had access to blue screens and optical effects in blue screen using miniatures and placing them by using a blue screen and so forth. Right. But it was very expensive, and you would use that as your big reveal, and you would use small practical shots to get you to the point of doing the reveal with a blue screen. And every time that you did that, it looked like a blue screen shot. So you were trying to limit that as much as possible. This is the big difference between CGI. As soon as CGI came in, you just kind of shot a few reactions, and as much of it as you needed, you just kind of filled in. And here's the difference. This is what happened. We had to work at a sequence. We had to figure out how each given small insert shot or every smaller shot was going to work, how it was going to look, and that would determine how we would storyboard it. Then we would see it, and we would line the storyboards up and see, is this telling our story? And you would have opinions coming from left and right, and you would tighten it up. You would experiment, with the practical effects to get up to the point. You would take time to make sure that the optical effects itself, that it's short time there, that it would fit with everything else. And you wound up, every time you did an effects shot, it had about 20 times as much work and thought into it as just the regular dialogue that was going on, say, in an adventure film. And so because of that, I think that some of those sequences just tend to be more iconic and more, they stick to your head. Because they were real and they were more thought out. I mean, I hate to say directorly. I guess, if that's a word, they were more directorly.
Collaborative, maybe.
They were definitely more collaborative. And
more heads are better than one.
And yeah,
generally.
And figured, if you look at most of the Hong Kong films, they would go in and shoot a week to shoot out all the dialogue. And then they would spend 3 months, 4 months shooting all the action sequences. And that's
right.
That's
if you look at like a Bruce Lee film, I mean, that's the focus. Is all the action.
Well, exactly.
Very little dialogue.
Yeah, very little dialogue. And the thing is you took the time to work things out as you were going along the line.
Well, also, don't you think it looks more real?
Oh, there's no doubt that the visceral effect of something, and the reason I bring this up in the Thor movie is that the reason that film worked is because nobody took it seriously. And
well, it's like I said, it was comic booky, so it almost looked like it was drawn, in a lot of ways.
Exactly, so that you could just kind of let the backgrounds be whatever jokey thing that they were going to be. It didn't matter. I mean, because none of the heat coming off of flames you just couldn't imagine that any of that was going to make a difference. You just wanted to see Thor make a joke, or you wanted the girl to say something funny to the Incredible Hulk. I mean, that's what it came down to. If you want seriousness, it just didn't have.
Yeah, they tried to be serious, but it was like the guy that was the traitor that jumped on the ship and everything.
Let me give you a good use of CGI is using it to place practical effects, and I would say that most recently Mad Max did it best. I mean, that film, they did all this really practical stuff, and then they just kind of went in and tweaked it and put it where it needed to be using CGI, and that gave it that hammer effect, that feeling like this was really happening, like there was peril.
Right.
See, and the thing is that made that a much better adventure film.
Yeah.
And which was good because it was a very serious film. See?
Yeah.
See?
Well,
I don't know what I'm looking at.
I mean, is it really less expensive to do practical effects compared to CGI? Because it seems like CGI would be more. I mean, if you look at the credits, I mean, you see like hundreds and hundreds of people that worked on CGI.
Yeah, but
so isn't that like a huge budget right there? You see what I'm asking?
Yeah, but it's harder to go as far. You have to think it out more. You have to be an actual director.
I guess I'm thinking of Star Wars, for example. Like the first Star Wars.
Yeah.
A lot of models, a lot of planning, like you said.
Right.
A lot of mix between,
Yeah.
They didn't use a lot of, obviously CGI wasn't really a thing at that
Right.
point. So then you talk about the newer, well, maybe not the last two Star Wars films that I absolutely loved.
Well,
but,
you were
but
thinking
the ones
of
that Lucas
horrible,
did. The bad Lucas
that
ones.
were horrible.
Yeah.
And that was a perfect example. The degradation of that look.
But wasn't the budget a lot? Do you see what I'm getting at?
Well, yeah, but at that point, to make it look anywhere near right,
I guess in the 90s,
it took a lot of money, and
well, I tried to watch Jurassic Park recently, and I thought it
didn't
was
get
hard
very
for
far.
me.
See,
it wasn't as effective for me now than it was when it came out.
A lot of times, you just what you think you want isn't really what's going to do you the best.
Right.
I think CGI works that way and has worked. I would just look at almost every Marvel film. They've left practicality behind and let it get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger using the CGI to do it, and it's not very convincing.
Right.
The only time that to me personally, the only time that any of it works is when you have personality coming in strong to save it. And
Yep. Well, I hate to say it,
Ant-Man. I'm
this
going to
is
say
one reason why. Yeah, Ant-Man. I like Ant-Man, but I also loved the 70s
Deadpool,
Superman.
Yeah.
With Christopher Reeve. No, I mean, he had a lot of personality, a lot of charisma, and they
did
a lot of actual stunts.
I'm not kidding. As soon as we're done yapping here, I'm gonna get my phone and I'm gonna bring up the Italian Spider-Man.
I gotta see it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. This is the greatest thing.
So my argument is, I think that the old ways are always gonna be there, and I think more people should go back to doing more of them.
I think it has to be a mix. I think that.
But a mix, yes, I agree.
But I actually have a feeling that maybe our love affair with the big effects and stuff is kind of waning. I think Frank Miller, kind of is leading us the way to do it right.
Yeah. There you go.
I think that I like Thor, and probably it was despite the production design. It was despite the effects.
Right.
It was just because it was super joking, and they all worked as Thor stand-up.
Yep. And it was the best Thor film, I think, so far.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can't get better than that.
Nope.
And that's us.
Again, I'm Kurt Thomas along with Mick Strawn. Thank you for joining us on Dream Warrior Review. We welcome your feedback, and if you have any questions or burning desires or just ideas for our show, we welcome email at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com. Our music was by Blood God, and please do join us next time on Dream Warrior Review.